Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time now, and that of course is my very own WICSO series. Now a lot of different people have been following on this kind of series recently, since Adis Pro started doing it, and I feel like it is definitely overused at this point, but I also can't help myself, like, I gotta make my own. If everyone else is doing it, I gotta do it. And yeah, bandwagon, whatever it's called. And yeah, I feel left out, so I'm going to be doing my very own Wixo series here. And yeah, might as well jump right on into it. Now, where could this start? It could start anywhere, maybe except for any Pacific island, because if it were any Pacific island, then humanity would probably be stuck for a very long time, so we're not going to do that. So, more preferably, we could go in Europe, the Middle East, Asia, many different places in Asia. We could go Southeast Asia, East Asia, India. We could go anywhere in Africa, but I I honestly don't know. In the Americas, we could go in many places, but I feel like that's a little more restrictive because we want to allude to history in a way. So I feel like the best basis to go off of is starting off similarly to how Adis Pro started his own, and we're going to be starting this series over here in the Mesopotamian region, which is definitely a very important region in Adis Pro's Wixo scenarios. So I'm going to be trying to bring less attention to Mesopotamia and more so focus on different areas of the world. Mesopotamia is not going to be the quote unquote main character of this series, and I honestly might get rid of the red team I'm about to create here. And first difference we're going to see is that we're going to see this civilization starting up here in Anatolia, which is a little bit of a difference. It's not too big of a difference because in Adis Pro's main series, it started down here in Oman, then they moved over here to Mesopotamia. So we're probably going to see a similar thing happening here where they move into this region here. So, yeah. Also, I do have unexplored oceans and unexplored land on, so we're going to be able to see how much land each area has explored and how much of the water they have explored as well. So that will show their progress towards discovering things like America. America's probably going to be like, oh, they know what this is, and then some random guy's just going to go, oh, here, they're in Florida now. So, yeah, it's going to be something like that. Anyways, right back on over to the new Anatolian country. We're going to go ahead and see exactly what I was just talking about, as this country will go ahead and begin to explore outward. Now, we could allude to human history and have multiple civilizations appearing at the same time across the entire world, but I feel as if the way Aegis Pro does it is a little better. It feels more controlled. I feel like I have a better grasp on being able to do it. And I also feel as though that if I had too many countries in different areas, say there were ones in the Americas, ones over here in Africa, and over here in Asia, then it'd be hard to focus on one singular country. So yeah, we're just gonna stick with the one, and it's just gonna disperse out, similar to Ada's first series. So, yeah, let's continue on this exploration. We're gonna see the red team exploring down here into the Sinai Peninsula, and this is where we're gonna see them discovering their first area that they're pretty interested in, and that is the Egyptian area. And they're gonna go ahead into, and they're going to go ahead and begin to explore this region here. And yeah, this region will become kind of important in this country. They're going to value this Egyptian land down here, but so will they in valuing this Fertile Crescent region over here, as they're going to go ahead and begin to push towards what they believe is to be paradise. These people are a little gullible to the people that find themselves leading, but eventually we see them reaching the Mesopotamian heartland. And from here, we're gonna see them kind of just exploring this area. And eventually, they're gonna make their way all the way down to the Kuwait area and the Persian Gulf. Now, the expansion of this red country is probably gonna look a little similar to their exploration. They're probably gonna expand along this coastline here at first, and then after that, they probably go ahead and begin to expand southward along the Mediterranean coast here into Lebanon and whatnot. And before you know it, they are encompassing a very large part of the coastline here. And I'm also going to, of course, include colored coastlines so we know what they have explored. And I have the coastline a little darker, so it is a little more visible this way. And based off of this, we can, of course, see what islands have been discovered and whatnot. And up here, they've explored a little bit, but they haven't explored the land here. These guys are not very keen on exploring up north. Did I use that word correctly? I don't know if I did, but I might have. And yeah, we're gonna see these guys kind of exploring the water, but they're not focused on it. They're mostly focused on exploring, I guess, what they believe to be the perfect place to live. Obviously, looking at this map, I don't think Mesopotamia would be the perfect place to set up, but it's better than nothing, if I'm going to be honest. So, yeah, we're going to continue to see these guys exploring around these areas. And the exploration will first come in the Sinai Peninsula, as this thing's going to be fully uncovered. As well as this, they will continue to explore down the Suez, the Nile, and yeah, at this point, Egypt has been, I guess, most of its valuable area has been explored. We're gonna go ahead and see the red team going ahead and expanding down into this area, and they're gonna go ahead and establish, I guess, a very large populous area in northern Egypt. Now these guys are looking pretty ginormous, so let's make them not ginormous. And you know this area they just took over? Turns out these guys they don't really like you anymore. The red team is kind of operating out of Anatolia, and these guys they're all the way down in Egypt. Vastly different terrain, geography, everything, biomes. This is, I believe, like a I believe it's still a desert in this northern area, but it just has rivers flowing through it and it has a little bit of vegetation around that. But I honestly don't know. But we do see the blue country gaining its independence, I guess. And we're going to see them expanding around the bases that the red team built them. And yeah, from here we're going to see the red team now beginning to attempt to expand elsewhere because they believe, oh, it's going to be closer to our heartland, so we're going to be able to control it a lot better. So might as well explore up into the Anatolian area. And yeah, they're going to do that. And at this point, they're going to go ahead and take all these islands and expand over here into Istanbul. But yeah, this red country is very expansionist, and they've already expanded more than the entire Egyptian country has in less time. So yeah, let's see how that plays out for them. And that is not looking too good. We're gonna see a yellow country breaking away from the red team. And at this point, we're gonna see this yellow country saying, you know what, screw you. We're gonna go ahead and cross the Bosphorus. One of these is the Bosphorus. I don't know which one it is. And I don't really think it matters that I know because that's probably the only time that's ever going to be mentioned here. So yeah, we're going to see yellow, this new yellow country. They're going to be expanding over here into now the Balkan area of Europe. And at this point, they've already entered into 3 different continents, and we only have 3 civilizations. It's like we have one per continent. Anyways, we head back over to this red team because it appears they have not learned their lesson and they're just expanding. They're gonna go ahead and expand into Mesopotamia, but something is different this time. They are able to consolidate themselves in this region. And after a little bit, they're going to begin to explore outward again into this deserty kind of area. I don't know much about the geography of Mesopotamia itself, but I know it has two rivers, and that's about it. From here, we're going to see the red team is, of course, exploring a lot, and they're going to make their way all the way up to this Azerbaijan area. They're also going to explore the rest of Anatolia, which is kind of weird because they just lost that territory. So, yeah, we're going to see that happening. From here, we head down to the south where they will continue exploring here. They don't really care about these regions, they just want to know what's down here. And yeah, at this point, we're going to see the red team once again expanding as they will go ahead and encompass, I think, all of Mesopotamia. I could be wrong. But yeah, they're going to expand vastly. Their empire is once again growing. And yeah, the red team is looking pretty massive. And this time, they aren't as unstable. And at this point, we're going to head over to the yellow country because they are once again on their quest to expand. And they will be moving through Greece, and they will be doing exactly that, as they will now explore the coast of Dalmatia, and they're going to make their way all the way over to Venice, or I guess the Venetian area, and they're going to say, this, this is where we want to be. They also explore up into Romania, but they don't make it too far because this area they don't really see as much potential in. So, yeah, they're just going to follow the Mediterranean for now, and they will be expanding into Greece, then into Albania and Macedonia. Then they will expand along this very short area of coastline that they explored, and then they will be attempting to make their way into the Italian peninsula, which they will eventually do. But at this point, they are a very vast country, and they're probably going to break into multiple pieces, so they're going to have to stop. And so they're going to focus on their exploration for a little bit, as they're going to explore around their territory now. They also will explore and meet the little bay that's right here. It might be called the Bay of like, I think it starts with an L, but if I say anything, I'm gonna get it wrong, so I'm not saying anything. But yeah, the entire Italian peninsula hasn't been explored yet, but they want to be in the Italian peninsula basically. Now heading back to the red team, they're not doing all too well. They have been focused on exploring, particularly out into the water, but they've already expanded a lot in this series. They have literally owned all this, and what they have now. So, yeah, they have to be unstable in some way, shape, or form. So, we're gonna see them, of course, exploring out into these waters. And let me very quickly update the waters around the yellow team. This shouldn't take all too long because the yellow team has definitely been focusing on their water exploration. And yeah, I think that is all. But yeah, we're going to see the red team exploring the land here as well. They're going to explore into southern Persia, into parts of Central Asia, only this small Turkmenistan area though. They also explore into a small part of Azerbaijan, more of this northern area, and they also, most notably, will explore to the south, which they kind of undervalued earlier, but yeah, they're still gonna say, you know what, we don't care about this land. We're gonna go ahead and expand into the areas we believe we will need the most. And that area is gonna be over here in Persia, as they're gonna go ahead and claim this chunk of land here. As well as this, they're gonna go ahead and claim this land up here, meeting up with the Caspian Sea. And at this point, once again, the red team is very vast, and they are stretched from their origin. What happens when they do that? Well, we see a little bit of a rebellion happening over here in Persia. And this rebellion is kind of unnoticed, but the red team will kind of be like, okay, we're going to get back at you. And this is like the only time they really say this. They don't really care about the blue team or yellow team really leaving them in the grand scheme of things. But the green team is the first one that really hits them home because the red team kind of wanted this region really badly because they see, once again, potential in it. They don't know what the rest of the world's looking like. They don't see much potential up here in Europe. They don't see much potential in Africa or in the rest of Arabia. So they wanted to expand into Persia in hopes of, I guess, getting a larger opportunity of expansion later on, which, I mean, largest continent in the world over here, they probably would have. So, yeah, the green team's going to put a stop to that. And the red team is going to, I guess, promise vengeance against the green team. But for now, we're going to head away from the red team and look at the blue team because the blue team has been doing quite a lot. First of all, they explored a lot of the northern coast of Africa as well as the eastern coast. Almost called it the western coast there. But yeah, we see the Egyptians doing a lot. And they've also been exploring the Nile kind of area here. Not all too much because I don't have a rivers layer and I don't know exactly where the Nile flows. So we're kind of just going to see the Egyptians expanding down into that. I once again, don't know where the Nile flows exactly, so we're just gonna see these guys expanding. And these guys, they do it a lot better than the red team and yellow team have been doing. They are able to consolidate the control in the region because the region is pretty fond of them. They, I guess, see the Egyptians in a good light because they, in a way, stopped the expansionist red team, which they possibly deemed as a threat to their existence, and so these people are pretty, I guess, happy to be a part of the blue team. So, yeah, we're going to see the blue team being pretty unopposed in their expansion. And the red team is going to kind of look at this and they're going to kind of see it in the same light as they saw the breaking away of the green team. And remember that these guys saw not only Mesopotamia as a promising piece of land, but they also saw Egypt as a promising piece of land, at least the northern part of it. Now that a little more is explored, they don't see as much promise in it, but they believe that Egypt will be of value for them. They believe they need Egypt for their grand empire. And yeah, they might be trying to take that back sometime in the future. But we head back to the Yellow team, who is expanding again. This is a very dangerous move because you're expanding into land you don't necessarily have explored, and that is never a good thing. But I mean, now you have Sicily explored, okay, and now you're exploring down over this way, and nope, there's Catalonia, and yeah, they're gonna go ahead and begin to expand again, and that is when this happens. A purple country will break away from the yellow team, which will effectively halt their expansion. But these guys are a little hypocritical, and they're going to expand immediately after getting independence. This is kind of a common trend. The only one who hasn't really done this is the green team over here in Persia. So yeah, you're a hypocrite, purple country, but they do not care. They're exploring into Iberia now, and they're gonna go ahead and take over this coastline. Would it be called taking? I guess it would be called taking over. And yeah, I hate how these countries look right now, but that does not matter because we are heading over to the Green Team, who I just mentioned hadn't expanded, but now they will be doing exactly that, as they have gone ahead and explored around them. That was their initial goal, and now they will be expanding into this newly explored land. They want to get away from the red team. That's another common trend. Most countries are not very fond of the red team. And yeah, the red team kind of takes personal offense to this. And yeah, we'll see how that will be playing out very soon. But for now, this episode is over. And I do want to say that this series is something I have done for myself for a while. I've had multiple WICSOs before, none that I recorded or uploaded. But I feel like now that I am recording this one, it has a lot of potential to become something. And once again, I'm not going to be focusing this around Mesopotamia, so you don't have to worry about that. So, yeah, we're going to be starting off over here with the yellow team, who is fixing my mistakes because I completely forgot to update the water layers. So, yeah, the explored water is not up to date. It wasn't up to date in the thumbnail, unfortunately. I forgot to update that. And, yeah. So, yeah, we're going to see the yellow tie-in kind of country exploring around the waters here. We also see the purple country doing much of the same. They're following in the footsteps of the country that did end up releasing them. And yeah, we're going to see them exploring all that water. Over down here to Africa, we're going to see the Egyptians exploring a lot of the water surrounding the Libyan coast, as well as their own coast. And in the Red Sea, we see a lot of the Red Sea being explored. It's pretty thin enough to where they know that the Red Sea just shoots straight across from Africa all the way over to Arabia. So they know about that. Over to the Persian Gulf, they know a lot about this too. They know that all this exists, but they haven't really gone into this land area yet. They just know it's there. And I think that's it. I mean, could update the Caspian a little. And I think now we have an up to date water exploration map. And yeah, let's get a move on this because we have a story to tell. Starting off, we head on over to the Egyptian country, which hasn't been doing much as of yet, but at the latter half of the last episode, they did a little bit of expansion. And now we're going to be seeing what really has come from that. And what that really entails is that they are exploring a lot. And they're going to be exploring pretty far out. They're going to explore all the way through here in Libya. They're also going to focus on exploring further down the Nile River. And I have a gnat that's flying in front of my face. That's going to be annoying. But yeah, we're gonna see the Egyptians continuing to explore southward, and at this point, they will finish their exploration, and now they will begin their expansion. They will expand over to the west into Libya, and they're also going to expand to the south into the Sudanese region. Not too much focus goes into expanding into the Sudanese region, but yeah, at this point, the blue team is the strongest country in this world. We now head on over to the red team, who is back at it again. They're Mr. Expansionisto, so they're going to be doing that. They're going to be building upon their bases in Anatolia first up. They value this land, and they're going to go ahead and expand upon that, of course. And they're also going to expand upon their Mesopotamian core region. They're going to thicken their borders in a way, and yeah, this Mesopotamian country is getting very large, and I think they are probably the largest. Yeah, they are definitely the largest, actually. Take back that probably. They're 100% the largest. But yeah, we're going to see one of their ambitions being over here in Central Asia, and as they begin to expand towards it, we're going to see them, well, not only reaching this exploration line and exploring beyond this little area here, but we're going to see a rebellion. Of course, the red team is the country that has all these rebellions happening to it, so this makes sense. But we're going to see the rebellion of a new orange team. And this orange team, they don't hate the red team. They just don't want to be near it because they realize that the red team is a threat. So they see a value of opportunity in the Central Asian region, and so they expand into it a little bit. Of course, there isn't much of it discovered at this point. You can't really expand into something that you don't know what's there. It's like you're expanding into absolute wilderness, but you have no control over it. It's like if you tried taking over an enclosure of lions, but there are only two guys and 500 lions. You get what I mean? Anyways, now heading over to the northern Mesopotamian area, we're going to see that the Mesopotamians, as well as their neighbors, have been doing pretty well in exploring the southern area south of Caucasia. And at this point, this is what the new exploration map of northern Mesopotamia looks like. Now heading over to the yellow team, we're going to see these guys continuing their expansion, as now they will expand southward, taking over Sicily, Malta, and the remainder of the Italian peninsula. They will also be expanding further southward, as at this point, their navy is the most progressed in the world. And I wouldn't really call it a navy, I'd just call it their naval technology. It feels weird saying navy because navy is usually a word that's associated with naval combat, but this kind of is a navy in a way. But yeah, we're gonna see I guess I mean, they're Turks, but really they're also Greeks and they're also Italians, so I don't really know what these guys are. But they will be going ahead and exploring into Tunisia. They're going to go ahead and establish a claim over here in the north of the continent. And wait till the Egyptians find out about this. They're going to be mad. But at this point, the yellow team is the strongest country in the world. At this point in time, we are really far back in history. This is something we're going to see quite a bit of. We now head over to the purple team, which is probably the least talked about country in this entire series so far, other than the new orange one that just formed over here. This purple one is pretty irrelevant. So they're going to be making themselves relevant as they will go ahead and explore down into the Iberian Peninsula. Unfortunately for them, they this is not a quick process at all, and this has been happening ever since they became a country, and it's going on even after this event. There are going to be events that I'm going to do after this that happen before they finish their exploration here. But we're going to see the purple team finishing this exploration up eventually, and they're going to go ahead and expand into most of the southern portion of Iberia. It's just at this point they are pretty unstable, and yeah, I'm gonna change up this border here. I don't like how it looks, and yeah, that's perfect. Now we can talk about the purple team again because they're not doing too good. The purple team literally cannot expand anymore. Their people are mad. They're enraged. They're probably about to overthrow their government. It's bad. But now, let's talk about the green team, another irrelevant country at this point, but they have just explored this tip of the modern day UAE, and they hate it here. So they say, you know, we're going to explore eastward, and eventually they're going to reach what is part of modern day India. And they're going to say, okay, this, this is where we want to be. And so the green team will begin its expansion towards India. Small problem though, your population is wee little, and they don't want to move all too much. So we're gonna see these guys being forced to not expand because people don't want to move. And yeah, the red team's kind of happy about this because remember, they kind of hold a grudge against the green team because they saw that area as a valley of opportunity, and now that they see what India is, they're even more angry at the green team. But you'll get over it, right? Right, red team? Right? Speaking of the red team, they're gonna go on a naval expedition. It feels weird saying that word because again, it's used for warfare knowledge and terms. But yeah, they're gonna go ahead and explore and take over the island of Cyprus. A small little detour there. But now we head over slightly westward to Crete, where we're gonna see basically the exact same thing that just happened with Cyprus happening with Crete, as the yellow team will be taking it over. Now, where do we go? Like, we have 6 countries. We can do quite a bit, but what do we do? Now, I think we should create a brand new country. What color should be next? I feel like pink. We're going to head over to the yellow team, who is going to have a small group kind of going against the country, and they're going to go ahead and expand up into this region here. And then they expand into basically unknown territory, and the yellow team is like, yo, these guys are going to cause problems. Let's kick them out. And so we see the yellow team basically evicting the pink people over here. They're gonna call themselves pink people. And yeah, we're gonna see these guys being situated over in this Ukrainian, Romanian kind of area. And they're not really going to do much for now. We'll check up on them later. But for now, we need to head over to Iberia because yeah, you know how this thing was about to collapse? Well, it's collapsing now. We're going to see the rebellion of the Southern Andalusian chunk of it. This purple team is not at all stable, and it is doomed to collapse. How much time this guy has left? Probably 2 seconds, as Islam country is seeing a lot of success in rebelling against their former selves, I guess, and they have taken full control over Catalonia and have cut this thing in two. From here, we're going to see two new countries going ahead and formulating, one here and the other one in this small French area here. Yeah, it's not good for the purple country. And before they officially die, they're going to lose one last chunk of their territory. This little northern area will go ahead and break away. As well as this, we see the Lime team pushing them back one last time. And yeah, the Lime team absolutely cooked the purple team. Now, the purple team is Portugal. I didn't expect them to be this way when I started the episode, but I'm just going. I'm doing what I am seeing. I'm seeing stuff, and when I see that stuff, I'm doing it. I should probably create plans for future episodes, though, because I don't want to be doing random stuff. I do have some things I want to do eventually. They're like ideas if I do certain things, but I don't know if I'm going to do certain things, meaning I don't know if I'm going to get to those points, so it's weird. Anyways, let's check up on each of these new countries. This dark bluish one, they're chill, and I think I'm actually gonna shrink them down a tad bit, give some land to this lighter blue country, like this. And yeah, this lighter blue country, on the other hand, I'm gonna give some land to the lime team because I do not like how that border kind of turned out. So we're gonna do something like that. And this light blue country is pretty populous, despite it being tiny, and they want to expand. And of course, the lime team, they kind of just want to prevent the purple team from doing anything. And they're kind of in agreement with this darker purple country up here to never let this guy out to expand again, which is a pretty strict thing, but yeah. Also, another thing we're going to notice is now that the dark purple country and the lime team exist, they're basically going to be able to expand for free. There was only the purple team initially stopping these guys from expanding because nobody liked the purple team expanding. But now that these guys exist, the people want these countries to expand because that's really one of the only things they can do at this point. And we're going to see this exact thing happening as the dark purple and lime teams begin to expand. Another country who will begin to expand is this light blue country, who I just talked about wanting to expand. They're going to go ahead and begin to expand as they will move all the way up to this kind of French area. And they're going to go ahead and kind of just shoot across. And they're going to take all of this land here. And yeah, they're looking pretty successful, pretty large, but their population's all in one area, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, let's check some other place out. How about we head over to Greece, who is going to rebel from the yellow team? And this is kind of to be expected, as this Greek area kind of saw itself as separate after we saw the yellow team expanding into the Italian peninsula. But now that this area is kind of mistreated, we saw the pink team go off do its own thing because they felt restricted in the yellow team. Yeah, we're going to see this Greek country seeing its independence kind of just being granted, and they're going to kind of expand on themselves a teensy bit before they officially gain their independence. I'm going to give them Crete as well. And at this point, the yellow team is smaller, but they're about to lose yet another territory because this little Tunisian colony is not going to last long and it's going to break away. Now, why did I create this? Well, I created it for a future plan I have. I will probably talk about it in the next episode because I have plans for the next episode at this point in my head. Will I forget about those? Yes. Um, yeah. But from here, we now have two African countries, a lot of European countries, and very few Asian countries. So, Africa and Asia, they should probably get some more countries. No? Well, uh, yeah, let's do that. We now head back to the Green Team, who is continuing their explorationist expansionism and whatnot. And they're going to explore a lot of India. A lot of India. And at this point, they're like, okay, our population has grown a little bit. Why don't we expand now? And so they will try and they will kind of fail. They will expand, but they're not going to get too far. At this point, the whole world's kind of looking at them and they're laughing, or they don't even know they exist because communication across this ancient world is probably not a strong point of this world at this point. They probably don't know about each other. The purple team probably doesn't know about the existence of, say, the green team or the orange team. They probably know about the existence of the red team and blue team, but I don't know. They definitely know about the existence of the yellow team. Probably not the pink team. Maybe the Greek country, but yeah, I don't know. And of course, they know all the countries who declared independence from them. So yeah, this world is small. And from here, we're going to see the green team kind of losing control. They're going to continue their expansion, but they're going to lose control. And a large chunk of their territory will be breaking away to form the brown team. The brown team wants to stop this expansion because they are underpopulated. That's the first time India has been underpopulated in a series. That's weird. And yeah, at this point, we have way more than twice as many countries as the first episode. I feel like we should probably end this episode sometime soon. So let's begin to push towards that. As we're going to head over to this northern kind of European area because the light blue French kind of country is very, very expansionist. They're going to go ahead and uncover all this land in Brittany. They're also going to take over a lot more of this region. I think it's called the Basque region. I could be wrong. And I'm going to change this border up here. But yeah, at this point, we're going to see these countries are kind of competing with each other. We see the one team claiming the rest of this land. But yeah, this French country is getting pretty large. And so we're going to see a country breaking away from it. And this will be none other than the Maroon country. And this Maroon country, it's going to expand away from the French country. And they're going to expand all the way up into the Netherlands kind of area. And they're going to stop here because they feel like that's far enough away from the light blue French country. And yeah, probably is. Maybe though. Who knows? And at this point, I think we are done. The Lime country will be making a landing over here in Morocco. They set up their little, I guess you could call it a colony, but not it not only is just tiny, it's also just very underpopulated and nobody really lives here. So yeah, we're just gonna see these guys expanding out, exploring this little area, but they don't really care about this African gain. Again, they have beef with the purple team, so it's probably a ploy just to stop the purple team's expansion. Also, I do want to get provinces on this eventually. Maybe that's something I could stream. That probably, I don't know, with how many followers I have on both Twitch and YouTube, that might be a bad choice to do because, well, yeah, look at this map and also look at my YouTube channel. I'm not doing too well. But, yeah, that might have to be something we do at a later time, or I just do it in my own time. I don't really want to do it in my own time because I know drawing provinces takes a while. I've seen how long the 8S Pros streams are, and, yeah, let's continue exploring. And just like last time, I completely forgot to update the exploration of the water. Yay! This is gonna be a trend. I'm gonna forget to do it at the end of this episode and the end of the next one, and it's just gonna become a trend. I probably am not lying. I have no way of knowing if I'm lying because obviously this episode isn't over yet, but I'll try to do my best to get on top of it, at least after the next one. This one I might slip up again, but I don't know. And as you can tell by what I just did, a certain area is known about. Looking at Great Britain here. And over here in India, we have a little more water being explored. Not all too much because these guys are a little further out. They're a little less populated. And yeah, the exploration goes down to here. I keep forgetting that it would go down to the white parts rather than the brown parts there. And yeah, speaking of this brown country, let's check up on them. In the last episode, I said they were underpopulated, and that's something nobody ever says about India, but that was true. Notice how I said was. This country is now booming in population and will begin to expand outward. They they're pretty controversial in the region because if you're not in the brown team, you're likely in an underpopulated area ruled by local tribes, and these local tribes are not in favor of the expansion of, I guess it probably be coined as like people from Mesopotamia who originated from the first civilization because obviously there are tribes around here everywhere. But yeah, I feel like I need to re-outline things. In episode 1, I might have said it. I kind of said that there aren't people everywhere. That was kind of a lie. There are tribes, there just aren't developed civilizations because that'd be way too much to keep track of. Because in Natives Pro's timeline, we were kind of unable to look at any environmental impacts on natives in America, and I feel like that's a missed opportunity. So, yeah, we're gonna be kind of ignoring things that would definitely happen, like equivalents to the Aztec and Inca empires would definitely form. Maybe not in their respective regions, but there'd definitely be similar stuff happening in the Americas. Maybe if I did it in a way where civilizations could just appear anywhere, we could have a complete reverse happening and we could see the Americas colonizing the rest of the world. Who knows? It's up to your interpretation, not mine, because my brain's not letting me interpret it right now. Anyways, speaking of India, as I was saying, they are exploring through these areas where tribes despise them, and eventually they're gonna reach the southern area of India, where these tribes are the worst to, I guess, explore into their territory. These guys are strict about their territorial claims, and they're also strict about like everything, their tribal cultureness, and yeah, they're gonna kind of become isolated from the rest of the Indian subcontinent here, as the brown team will go ahead and shoot straight across this area here, and they're gonna begin to claim this coastal area. But now, at this point, I think that's enough brown team coverage for now. That's enough screen time. They're not relevant yet. Notice how I say yet. Anyways, we head over to this orange country who, after getting independence, did absolutely nothing for a whole episode, so let's change that. They're going to be exploring up the eastern coast of the Caspian Sea. I don't know what they've been doing this whole time. Maybe it takes it's taking them a long time to expand across this area, but they're basically going to explore a little bit and expand up here. That's about all I have. Most of my plans for this orange country are not now, is all I'm saying. So, yeah, let's head over to the pink country, who I do have plans for, and they're gonna be right now. And the pink team will be exploring into all this Ukrainian area. And they're gonna see this area, and they're gonna be like, ooh, let's get into this area. And so we're gonna see the pink team going ahead and claiming this southern Ukrainian kind of area. Small problem though. You have a very low population, and most of the population actually wants to move into this new area. So basically, what we have here is the exact opposite of I believe it was India, where people didn't want to move over to India from the green team. I might be wrong. It might be something to do with the purple team over here. I could be wrong though, but I'm pretty sure it was something to do with India. But now we see the exact opposite happening over here with the pink team, where most of the people are leaving from this Romanian area. What that kind of causes is not only a small part of this to rejoin up with the yellow team, but we're also going to see a rebellion from the pink team. These guys are the guys who didn't choose to move over, and yeah, they're gonna gain their sovereignty because the pink team doesn't really care about this region. I mean, they do care, but they want the more valuable land, and that Romanian area isn't as valuable to them as the Ukrainian area is. And so it's kind of like, okay, you do you, I do me, but it's not like they're hostile in relations or whatnot. And I think that's all I want to talk about the pink team for now. I do have more future plans for them. But now we head over to this area, and as you can see where I'm focused in, we're going to see the yellow Roman, Italian, weird kind of country has gone ahead and discovered the islands of Corsica and Sardinia. And they're going to go ahead and claim both of these islands. These islands are probably uninhabited. They definitely could be inhabited, but I mean, if the Italians just discovered them now, it's more likely than not that they're uninhabited, and the Italians will just be able to inhabit that area. Anyways, now heading down to this Tunisian country, they're gonna work with their former rulers to explore all this water area here. I kind of just want to get rid of the water that's unexplored in the Mediterranean. At this point, we're going to see naval groups from the Lime team, Cyan team, and Yellow team linking up along the coast of Africa here. Basically, what this does is that, first of all, and second of all, it teaches the Yellow team that there are countries over here that they probably didn't know about, and the Purple team is not on their border anymore. They knew that, but they didn't know really what ended up happening to the Purple team because they're all the way over here in Portugal now. So yeah, lore update Yellow team. But yeah, the Yellow team has been focused a little too much on their navy and whatnot, not so much on themselves. And so we're gonna see a region of the Italian country choosing to break away to form their own country. And this region will be the Venetian region. They're going to be breaking away from the rest of the yellow Italian country, which will notably divide the Italian peninsula from the rest of the yellow team. And very quickly, this will spiral out of control. A large, I guess, kind of Albanian state will form over here in Albania, and it will very quickly gain control over most of the remainder of the Balkans, and it will also push up into this Dalmatian area here. We also see the independence of Dalmatia itself, another new country in this region, and basically what I'm going on about is that the yellow team is falling apart, and this area is now detached, so yeah, let's create a new color, and let's give it to this new greenish kind of color country. And yeah, now you're independent. And there are a lot of gray pixels on this map that are bugging me. But yeah, that just leaves this little piece of Anatolia left. And we're gonna see, first of all, the Golden Greek country will be taking all of these islands because they feel like doing that. And we're gonna see the rest of this yellow area here splitting into two. The first area will be the southern half. This will be the more populated area. The second area will be the northern half. This will be the less populated area, but more strategic. And I mean, that's probably all it has going for it. But at this point, the yellow team has released many new countries, and they are unstable. But they will go ahead and begin to form good, I guess, relations with most of their new neighbors. Of course, they know about these guys, but they're probably not going to be talking to these guys because of how far out they are. They were barely talking to the red team as it was when they shared a border, so yeah, they're probably uninvolved with those two. But the rest of these guys, they're probably talking to. Anyways, back to the naval stuff. Um, that happens, and then we see that happening. So the lime team, yellow team, and cyan team are definitely working together here, and we're gonna see this continuing, as now they want to explore the Mediterranean over here. And a little update on this: Egypt has been exploring a lot of it, and they now know that this is Greece up here. They probably already knew that before, but they never went up to do anything. And over here, this has been explored a little closer into. They just don't know if they're like islands in this area, but that still exists. Probably will for a little bit. And yeah, now heading over to this region, which I was just talking about. The Greeks will work with the cyan team and the yellow team to go ahead and explore most of this area. And at this point, the yellow team is kind of stretching their naval explorations out. So they're going to go ahead and stop to focus on rebuilding themselves, which they probably should have done in the first place. They're spending a lot of their, I guess, it's kind of weird because ancient era, but also you gotta explore the water. Does that cost money? Like, how does that work? I'm not too familiar with the ancient era of our real life world, so yeah, I honestly could not say, but this probably is somewhat realistic, I want to say, but not perfectly realistic. So yeah, we're gonna see the cyan team working on this, and obviously the blue team's working on this, and oh, they meet each other. And when the cyan team says their country is a descendant of the yellow team, the blue team's gonna kind of get mad about that because the yellow team was a European country, and now there is a roadblock on your far western, I guess, neighbor region, and you wanted to conquer this entire continent. Greedy you. Anyways, heading back over to the cyan team, they've definitely explored a lot of the area around them, so let's go ahead and reflect this. The cyan team has been around for a little bit now, probably, I think, the middle of the last episode, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, these guys will be exploring down into this coastal area here, and yeah, at this point, they've gone ahead and linked up their land exploration up with the Egyptians. So yeah, these two are now officially linked, and all the land surrounding the Mediterranean is fully explored. And at this point, I'm just gonna do this. Same for that area there and that. It just makes more sense to do that, and it looks a lot better on the map for it to be this way. So I'm just gonna have it that way. Heading over to the Caspian, it probably isn't fully explored, so it probably looks something like this, I want to say, at this point. They don't know much of what this area of Russia is. The most they know is this part of Kazakhstan. Heading over to India, these guys have definitely been exploring the water on this other side, but I mean, they're probably not exploring too far out on their western coast. And heading down to the Red Sea, we probably see the Egyptians and Red Team exploring over to here, but that's about it. I really doubt they'd explore any further there. Now, we actually get to talk about the Red Team because the Red Team will go ahead and continue their exploration around the coastline of Arabia, and eventually this will complete. This has been going on for a while now, so I'm just covering it at one point, similar to how the Purple Team was collapsing all throughout the last episode. It didn't all happen at once. Obviously, that same kind of thing's going to be happening here. We're going to see the red team beginning to conquest these smaller tribes as they begin to expand into Arabia. Now, heading over to the lime team, you know how they have this? Well, it's booming in population, and they kind of got to expand upon it because, well, it's booming in population. And when it starts kind of growing out of control, it's gonna break away. That's exactly what we're gonna see happening here, as we see this kind of pinkish, dark magenta kind of country breaking away. Um, it says it's a dark pink on my color wheel, so I'm just gonna call it a dark pink. So it's gonna be a dark pink, and yeah, I think I don't. I think maybe the Dalmatian country is probably the closest color to that. So yeah. Now heading over to the Maroon country, which I've been waiting to move over to this area for a little bit to cover this. They have been working on their exploration, and they have now discovered a lot of the Rhine area in Germany, as well as a lot of the eastern area of Germany, as well as the northern area. They've been putting in their research on the German area, and they're going to go ahead and begin to expand into this area. It's once again flat land, so they can kind of just do this. It's not too populated, so I mean, no one's stopping them. And yeah, we're gonna also see them expanding by the bluish French country, who they're gonna see as a rival at this point. Not enemies, but rivals. These two kind of have beef, but not really. It's like kind of like, oh hey, I'm beating you, haha. And then the other one's like, oh, okay, we're gonna one you up. Something along that line. But I'm not gonna delve too deep into it because that's gonna become relevant later, not now. And I have no idea how far into recording I am. 21 minutes. That's about as long as the previous few episodes. So let's keep going and let's head on over to the green team, which I mean didn't really do anything at all today and won't really be doing anything at all today. But I feel like it's time to mention this. The green team is stuck. They are trapped. They're an expansionist country, and their northern area is mountain. So, yeah, they're kind of forced to move into this Iranian, Pakistani, and Afghanistan area, and they're going to see a lot of their explorers dying because these guys are trained to the coastline. Although they will expand inward, the green team will find a very hard time in expanding into this area and hence expanding their influence and whatnot. So, yeah, the green team is stuck. They're completely locked away, and the Indians and red team are completely blocking them off from expansion. This is made official when the red team fish, fishes finishes off claiming the northern part of Oman here. And yeah, that spells out complete defeat for the green team. They have no more opportunities for expansion along water. So yeah, the green team is sad. Laugh at them. Now let's head over back to Arabia because I want to finish exploring part of this. Arabia is obviously a desert, but the red team's been here a while. This is probably a little more explored than this map represents. And also, it's probably more claimed than the map represents. And yeah, at this point, we're going to see the red team's empire expanding to look something like this in the south. Up north, they will be expanding over here and reaching the Black Sea. And at this point, the red team's expansion will be finished. We will be checking up with these guys some other time. But now we head over to the blue team, who is exploring down the eastern coast of Africa because now they see that they've been blocked off over in the east. They gotta explore over here, hope they can do something. And so they see no countries, and they're gonna go ahead and expand. The problem, though, is that this is the problem. A massive chunk of you will rebel because they don't want to expand. And the Egyptians will kind of have to take this because they've fallen off. They used to be the strongest country in the world, if that means anything. I mean, at this point, it's probably the lime country over here in Iberia. That's what I want to say. But yeah, the Egyptians have fallen off, their civilization's collapsing, and they'll make one final effort to expand into Libya before inevitably we see the exact same thing happening, and we're going to see Libya breaking away from the blue team as well. And this new layer is, see if you can guess what it is. If you guessed a religion map, then you would be correct. Adding something like this early on is a must because if I have a religion map, then I can do religious based wars and whatnot. A lot of history comes down to religion, and the biggest flaw by far in Ada's Pro series is the lack of acknowledgement for religion. Religion only really ever began getting recognized right after the Third World War with the genocide in Ethiopia. It was right before, actually, I believe. I forget, but now we do have a religion map. And we're actually going to talk about this map really quickly. Starting off over here with the two red religions. The first one, the main red color, the same one as the red country here. This is the religion of the main Mesopotamian guys. These guys are the ones who believe that Mesopotamia is the perfect ideal place to live. And for the lighter pink shade, they believe that the Egyptian area is the ideal place to live. So when civilization first began over here in Anatolia, they discovered Egypt. They thought that was the perfect place to live. And then more people went out and discovered Mesopotamia, and it kind of just split. At one point, it was like, oh, both of these places are perfect. But eventually, it more so became that certain people believed that one of these would be allowed to get the status of the perfect place to live. And mainly, I think the Mesopotamian area definitely has that land wise, but probably the Egyptian people have that when it comes to actual, well, population. Now we head over really quickly to the green religion. This isn't really much to discuss, but the brown team stemmed off of the green team, and by the point that the brown team formed, the religion of the green team had already formed. That's just something we didn't talk about. But yeah, this green religion is probably one of the oldest in the world. I'm not gonna give a like exact time spans of like how long these religions have existed for, which ones came first. Of course, these two actually came first. There was probably the divide after maybe the yellow religion. I don't know, but the green religion's been around for a little bit, and they haven't seen much disunity other than the actual country split between the green and brown teams. But yeah. Now heading on over to the yellow religion over here throughout Europe. This religion is the biggest religion in terms of the amount of people who follow it. It stretches all the way over from Iberia over here in the west, all the way over to Ukraine over here in the east. It also contains a lot of northern Africa, Greece, the Italian peninsula, part of France. It contains a lot, and this religion is probably going to divide sometime soon. Not today, though, because I have bigger plans for today. And yeah, that brings us to our final religion, which is the blue religion. I tried to kind of base the religion colors off the country who founded it. Obviously, this is not maroon. I only did it to where it's not maroon because if it was maroon, it'd feel like there's a little too much red on this map because that just doesn't look good. And plus, the blue color probably won't be used because I used the light pink for that blue area where Egypt is, so might as well utilize it here instead. And yeah, I think that's about all I have to say for the religion map for now. We'll be coming back to this sometime soon. I don't know if that's going to be in this episode, the next one, who knows, but we're going to be coming back to that. But for now, we get to talk about these actual civilizations. And I want to head over to the Balkans because this area, I've been kind of ignoring it, and I don't feel like I should be. And this area is definitely a lot more explored than I have shown here. And they probably explored up to the what's it called? The Carpathians? The Carpathian Mountains over here in this Romanian area. They probably explored a little into the mountains, now that I think about it. And of course, over here, this whole area has definitely been explored at this point. They know what's in this area, and we're probably going to see a lot of these countries expanding. And it's almost at the point where I want to start drawing in pencil borders, but I don't know quite yet because if I do that, then I'm kind of committing to making all these borders not so round, and I feel like I should wait a little longer. I feel like I should wait till after this ancient era is over, which is probably going to be at the end of this episode. Probably, I don't know quite yet. Maybe. It depends on how far I'm able to get in this recording, which might be far, might not be. Anyways, heading back on over to the Balkans. First up, we're gonna see this weird Albanian kind of thing expanding upwards. Soon after, this Bulgarian thing will expand, and they're gonna kind of impede on all this land. These guys are kind of similar to the red team in how they want to rule a lot, and they might be getting away with that, at least in their area for now. This pink country, the light pink country at least, will kind of just follow this border. They don't want to claim the mountain land, but they also don't really want to have much a border with other countries because they're kind of isolationist in a way. Not that you can really be isolationist at this time, you kind of have to interact with your neighbors. Otherwise, then what's the point of anything? Trade is definitely a thing at this point. It's been going on since the beginning of civilization here. It just hasn't been represented. And we're probably going to see trade routes emerging in the next episode, if I want to say. But I have no idea. But let's head on over to this Dalmatian country who will be expanding next. And I this guy's not gonna look how I want them to look, but that's fine. We'll touch back up on this later when we change the borders up to not be this rounded. So yeah, this is our new map of the Balkans. Now we're gonna be heading elsewhere. And by elsewhere, I mean over to the Cyan team, who is going to go ahead and begin their expansion because, well, they've been in this area for a while and they haven't expanded like at all. And I feel like they definitely should have by now. So we're going to see them finally expanding. This has been something that I've kind of been putting off because, well, these guys would be pretty large. They were set up by the Yellow Team, which was an expansionist country, and the Yellow Team expanded into Iberia, or no, they expanded over into like the French and Balkan areas, and then they kind of made their little African area, and then it just stopped going at the same rate that the Yellow Team did. They would have had this done by the end of probably last episode, but now we have this being done here, so no need to, I guess, talk about it anymore. Now heading over to this purple Libyan country, I'm going to enhance the amount of area that is outlined around them, and they will also be expanding. This will do something very notable. It will link Africa very far in, and it kind of links back the religions in a way, because this is kind of coming full circle. The Yellow Team religion is the largest religion, and now it's gonna kind of combine a little bit with both of these other religions here, and we're gonna have to see how that, I guess, constitutes what happens with these main contributors, the Yellow Team, the Cyan Team in a way as well, and then the Blue Team and the Red Team. There might be something happening here that could allude to a whole bunch of religious implications. Like, something might be happening here between one of the sides and the other, because these two red religions, they don't like each other. If they get the Yellow Team's favor, then maybe they can kind of gang up on that other religion. Who knows? This is the ancient era. We have no idea what's going on. So, this might be hinting at something, but this something's probably not going to happen for a while, given the time, once again. But yeah, let's head on over to Morocco, which is kind of the same region, kind of not, but we're going to continue the exploration here because these guys have definitely been exploring. These guys derive from the Lime team, so they're expansionists by heart, and we're going to see them quickly expanding along the coastline here, but they're also going to expand up into this area of Algeria here. And at this point, they're going to link up with the Cyan team as well, which at this point now means there is a connection between every single country in the world. Not a single country is borderless. I mean, the second we get an island country, that changes, but we're probably not going to have an island country for a little bit now. So let's ignore what I just said and head over to the Mesopotamian region because we're going to see these two Anatolian kind of countries expanding. First, this blue one will be expanding up into this area here. Um, they're kind of locked away, and I'm going to change their border here to make them look better. So yeah, these guys will look like this. We're going to see their northern counterpart looking something like this. And I feel like these borders suit these two. These two are pretty irrelevant, but I mean, might as well make their borders look cool if they aren't cool themselves. And of course, the rest of this will be going over to the red team. Actually, scratch that. A large chunk of it will be going over to the red team, whereas we're going to see a small amount of this becoming yet another new country. It can be this color. New color just dropped. And yeah, we now have three Anatolian countries. At this point, the red team is still continuing on its expansion. They're going to go ahead and fully begin to wrap around the Yemeni coast, as now, at this point, they have no reason not to. They're running out of places to explore and expand into, so, I mean, why not take it over? I mean, it's the only, I guess, land of value that you can take. Otherwise, then you're kind of stepping into really foreign lands. And then that's how you make another green team, blue team, orange team, yellow team happen. They're just going to break away if you expand too far out. So you don't really want to do that. And it's kind of a risk even doing this in Southern Arabia because these guys are pretty far out. And of course, there are already tribes here, as we discussed with the Indian stuff in the last episode. So, yeah. Also, at this point, this area in Arabia is fully explored, and probably the Caucasus Mountains are probably met up here too. So this is probably what this looks like. Over here, the pink team's definitely discovered all this. They've probably explored further north as well, so we're gonna acknowledge that here as well. Heading over to the brown team, they've definitely discovered the entire Danish Peninsula. They've probably made a landing in England at this point. And yeah, we're probably looking at this with the exploration around. Did I call them the brown team? I might have. The maroon team. Sorry. But yeah, at this point, we're going to see Europe slowly beginning to get uncovered. This is not the brown team. I almost said it again. But yeah, the maroon country will kind of lead this exploration. Of course, everywhere but the Alps. I don't know exactly where it lies, but I'm just going to do this, leaving this for now, because that's certainly where the Alps are. But how far out they go in that area, I have no idea. Now we're going to head over to the Indian subcontinent because this brown team is going to be splitting into multiple. And first, they're going to try to expand into this area that I've said multiple times is really hard for them to expand into. This area at this point is fully explored, but yeah, no, you don't want to try and take that over because then you see these tribal areas revolting. Then you see your own people revolting because why not? Might as well. And at this point, you have lost your eastern coast. Great. And the brown team is kind of looking at themselves and they're pretty sad. But now we get to talk about water exploration once again. And I kind of updated this at the end of the video last time, but might as well go back over it. Over here in Mesopotamia, I definitely didn't. But yeah, we see some things happening here. More specifically, we see that the northern coast of Somalia is not about, just not what it looks like. And yeah, heading over to the western coast of Africa, we see that the Canary Islands are being explored, and as well as this, the Bay of Biscay is fully explored, as well as the entire southern coast of England and a lot of the eastern coast of England. As well as this, they know about the Scandinavian kind of area, and the Baltic Sea is being explored at this point. So, yeah, that's full naval update map, and this is actually probably also fully explored at this point because of course the orange team's been working on that. So yeah, I think this is our fully updated map here. Maybe I might be missing something, but even then, I'll probably see it in the next time I do this. So, yeah, it's not relevant. But now we head over to Central Asia because it's exploration time. And the Orange team has been working on this really hard. This is all they've been doing for quite a bit now. Because, I mean, what else are they supposed to do? They're trying to run away from the Red team. And, I mean, I guess just exploring is a way to do that. But now they're going to begin to expand into this new territory. And eventually, they're going to get a little ambitious and they will try to expand into this area of Kazakhstan that I have no idea what it's called, but it's this coastal area of Kazakhstan that's along the Caspian Sea, kind of near the Russian area. It's the area I just colored in for the Orange team. And eventually, we're going to see this area revolting away from the Orange country because, well, they are kind of being undermined by the rest of the Orange country. And yeah, the Orange country honestly probably doesn't care. So yeah. Another thing that I should probably talk about is wars. We haven't seen, I don't think, a single war yet. I might be wrong. But if it was a war, it was probably barely a war. So let's see kind of a war. I mean, this is kind of going under the definition that I was using there before, but we're going to see a revolution over here in the Brittany region of the Maroon team. This rebellion is very interesting and very important because this rebellion is strong. The Maroon team is a very strong country, probably one of the strongest countries in their region, and they are no joke. But they're being pushed around here. These rebels, they mean business. And the kind of Dutch, Northern French guys, they're absolutely losing this war. And there's not really an explanation at first because they don't really understand it. Eventually, though, they will allow this country to gain its independence. Now, of course, we gotta talk about why on earth this country just gained its independence. Well, that's because of a very important material that is called bronze. Bronze is a alloy of tin and copper, I believe. I might be wrong. And this is, I guess, the pre-iron kind of gear for weapons and, I guess, warfare. And it's going to be used for the first time over here in Brittany by these few people because they obtained it. The Maroon Country was too focused on exploring out into new areas, and they didn't really watch their technology because this area was gearing itself up, and then they kind of were the first to really rebel. All the rebellions we've seen so far are not really big. I mean, the collapse of the purple team was big, but they didn't really have much control in that. So if they didn't have much control, who would the rebels be fighting? Because the loyalists were all in this area that they ended up in, and otherwise the other countries were kind of just pushing them out of the land that they didn't have any control over. So yeah, that wasn't really much of a war. This kind of was. And I keep saying kind of because not in a traditional sense, like these guys are full blown attacking each other. That's not really happening here because the Maroon team, of course, they're more focused on their exploration than they are on their, I guess, stability. But, I mean, the, again, the light orange country, I'm going to call them, they are more technologically advanced, but they're also a small minority of the population. And I feel like it's relevant now to talk about why this country wants its independence and why it got its independence. This bluish French country is the same country who ruled over a lot of this area here. And is also the same country that the Maroon team gained independence from. And these guys, they were in support of the Maroon team at first, and then it kind of just shifted against what they wanted. So they're probably going to realign with the light bluish country here. Because, I mean, same heritage in a way. I mean, you're a different religion because when the Maroon team broke off, it wanted to separate itself from France, but I mean, other than that, you guys are probably good friends now. And looking at the time I've been recording for about 21 minutes. That's about an episode's length. So I'm going to be ending the episode here. I hope this video doesn't feel as rushed. I feel like I rushed that, but I don't know. But yeah, I feel like this series definitely has potential. And I will, of course, be trying my best to make this series not flop because a lot of WICSOs, they just don't gain retention like Ada's does. Of course, Ada's was the one who started it, so given all the people who are inspired by it and all the casual watchers are going to watch it, so it feels a little harder. And a lot of the WICSOs that I see, they don't perform. I'm not going to say they don't perform well, but they don't perform ideally. And I want to make this good. I want to not make it like, oh, I'm inspired by this. Let's mimic every single aspect of it. Let's mimic colors. The only thing that's really kind of following the flow of Ada's Pros Wixo is how the red teams in Mesopotamia and how we're kind of dispersing out of one region. But I mean, that's it. I don't think there's any other major similarities. I mean, other than a kind of hatred going on between the red team and the Persian region, but that's all I can think of. Like, I mean, the yellow team also kind of moved like the purple team, but at the same time, they were never really nomadic. So, can we really say they moved the same way if they never really intended to move the same way? Anyways, that's enough of a yap sesh for me. I'm going to end this video here so I can go ahead and edit it so it can be uploaded tomorrow. And I will see you all in the next episode.